Welcome to the breakdown.
I thought you had something that you wanted
Sorry,
to say.
I
was
totally
desperately.
Right before we went live, I was like, "Oh, I know what I want to talk about when we start. Don't worry." I wanted to talk about. Have you guys seen South Park from this week?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't. I was like, no spoilers.
No,
Join me, everyone who hasn't seen it, and going
so
like this.
Good.
All I'm gonna say is that usually for like a cold open before we roll the theme song, if there was a relevant pop culture moment from the week, I'll just roll that first. And I cannot roll the moment that I want to roll from.
Oh no, you can't,
because we would be demonetized immediately.
Yes, no, you cannot. And if you could, it would involve tweezers.
This sounds titillating.
You could say that.
South Park is now have been around almost 30 years now, Kate. Since you were a toddler.
Actually, South Park and I are the same age.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But the idea that South Park is ever faded away in the culture, it always comes back. And this year it is, the brutality of it is so good. And the understanding of how brutal they're being is so good. And JD Vance as Tattoo.
I also like they do such a good job with like the meta and self-aware stuff. Like the whole episode last week was about how like South Park sucks now. This
Right.
is, like self-aware. Like I know it's gotten too political, but what else do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. I first want to give a little shout out to Rick's guest appearance on today's I've Had It pod.
So fun. Fun. They are amazing. And I got to tell you that I'm a guest on a lot of podcasts, folks. I'm a host and a guest on a lot of podcasts. Top notch, over the moon. Couldn't be
really
happier.
A match made in heaven. I had so much fun listening to it, and as someone who has to listen to you talk like quite a bit, it was like really great. If you love Rick content, you'll love.
Yeah, if you like Rick content, you will like
genuine Rick content. I should say.
Genuine Rick content, as opposed to my AI doppelganger, folks. There's a YouTube channel now called Liberal America. It is very convincing. It looks a lot like me. It's not me. There are two giveaways in that I have perfect teeth. Sorry, Mom, I didn't wear my fucking retainer. And then my ears are cut off at the top. They look like little stubs. But other than that, the AI video and the audio is pretty convincing.
That's
It's a little unnerving because once I did see it, I was like, I think I've actually seen one of these videos previously. And I remember thinking, this feels a little off from what I'm used to seeing Rick do, but maybe he's trying out a new style.
No, it's a style called Some Asshole with 11 Labs for the voice and Sora for the video and ChatGPT for the text.
I haven't seen it. You'll have to send it to me later.
Oh, they're putting out a video like every 6 hours, and then the last week it had like 1.5 million views.
I see Whitney in backstage like nodding, like she wants to kill whoever's behind
you.
Oh,
yes, our lawyers are moving in for the kill. YouTube is not exactly like Johnny on the spot of fixing it, so we're having a lawyer up.
Well, and that's what's crazy is because, all of these apps now, you can have the option to deep fake yourself. But the minute you give your image away, it feels like it's in this, sort of precarious territory. But now I'm like, if somebody else is deep faking you, I'm like, should we all be deep faking ourselves? Like, what is this new world we're in?
That's part of the problem, guys, is it's like I'm on so many interviews and I've done so many podcasts and on so many TV hits. There are plenty of samples of my voice and my image out there. God knows why people want to cut and paste me, but here we are. But it's wrong. It's unethical. It's going to keep happening. And sometimes it's hilarious. Mostly not so much.
We have enough real hilarious footage of you that I don't have to fake it.
That's right. That's right.
All that being said, let's get into the headlines this week.
Including me wearing an Abe Lincoln hat.
What?
Oh yeah.
I have a picture of you wearing an Abe Lincoln hat from 2020. I'll find that after I hop out of here and get you guys into your first topic. Don't worry, I'll find it.
I was like, speaking of Lincoln and also the penny. The pennies.
The penny is no more.
It's a weird week for It's weird.
We're going to replace it with a crypto token known as the Don Jr. coin.
And that is the most important thing that's happened this week. Nothing else major.
No, pretty quiet other than that.
We just kind of came on here to hang out.
Can't we just live in that bubble for just a second? I want to live in the bubble that my apolitical friends live in, where like that is the only thing that happened. Like, oh my God, they don't have the penny anymore. Like, I desperately want to figure out how to neutralize whatever it is in my brain that makes me care. Like that thing that makes me give a shit.
It's called brown liquor. Brown liquor. You won't give a shit.
Give me the liquor. This is just water, unfortunately.
All right. Time to talk about the shutdown. This is just
the brown beverage that I
The shutdown that was. The once in future shutdown, I shall call it.
Pour one out for the shutdown.
So, on the 41st day of a record-long government shutdown, the U.S. Senate voted 60-40 to approve a continuing resolution to reopen the government. The measure will fund much of the government through January 30th and provide funding for some agencies through the end of next September. Mm-hmm. There have been a wide range of takes on the Democrats chickening out on this, but to start, Rick, I'm going to quote you back to yourself, if that's all right. This is an excerpt from one of Rick's Substack posts this week. A shutdown that was bleeding the MAGA GOP dry will end because the hateful eight were suckers who made Neville Chamberlain look like Genghis Khan. The Republicans cannot believe their luck. They get to end the shutdown, blame it on Democrats, and go back to the MAGA base and say, we killed Obamacare at last. So did we win the shutdown, guys?
We did not. We did not. It was not there. Look, every centrifuge remaining under the Iranian nuclear lab could not spin this into a win. There is no amount of mayonnaise in the universe that can turn this chicken shit into chicken salad. It doesn't exist. They blew it. They got talked into this by John Thune and a bunch of people who are like, well, what America's really crying out for now is compromise with Donald Trump. Actually, the 21 public surveys that had happened since the beginning of the shutdown all showed that Trump and MAGA were taking all of the blame, every bit of it. Not a single poll said the Democrats were to blame for the shutdown. Not one. And these eight window lickers just went, okay, well, why don't we just shut it down?
I tried desperately to understand what the motivation might be. And for these eight folks, in an attempt to give them the benefit of the doubt, I like to think that they do suffer from that failure of imagination, that they don't understand exactly how bad it is that there are people whose premiums are going to go so high that they are not going to be able to afford health care.
Correct.
And they seem to be holding out for some sort of this idea that, the Republicans won't let that actually happen. So
have you met Russell Vought?
And so I don't want to call it an innocence or a naivety or a stupidity or anything like that, but a failure to understand how evil and cruel people can be. And I think that might be the case in a few of these people's but it's so frustrating because we were really getting to the point where people are starting to pay attention.
They were.
And now
and I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot about this is it wasn't just the political hit that Republicans were taking that was making me happy about this. What I was, and I don't mean happy in the way of like, oh, what a great thing for us to shut down the government. That's awesome. I was happy because people were now seeing what the stakes really were. They were starting to understand that that shutting off food stamps and SNAP was going to starve 15 million children out of 44 million families. all these things were adding up into a way that it was unspinnable. Like the bad guys weren't able to go, oh no, we're just doing this to end up to like Doge, like waste and corruption. That wasn't what it was. And I was gratified that people were starting to get how evil the underlying governing principles of the Trump administration really are.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back to the situation where, if you pay the blackmailer, you know what the blackmailer does? He wants more blackmail. So we're going to end up with, the same drama again in January. And at that point, the rates for next year for people's health insurance will be set.
Mm-hmm.
They will pay those rates. They will not there's not going to be some break or some fix to this, because Republicans will never vote to fix Obamacare. It is a sacrament for them that Obamacare is the worst possible thing in the history of mankind. And so they're going to take their own people who have been screwed, their own people who've been harmed by this, and say, yep, too bad.
Yeah.
Blame the Democrats. It was political malpractice of the highest order.
Well, and also it was the first time the Democrats really had Republicans on the defensive in a very strong way. And so with the Epstein files, at least at that point being in the background of things, this was something that the Democrats could just be on the offensive on and say, hey, we are trying to fight. The fighter that you wanted, the fight that you were asking for us to do,
you want us to fight. You wanted us to fight, and we're here and we're in it. And they were getting enormous political credibility out of this matter. They were winning the battle, and just walking away from it, it just blows my mind, Maya, that somebody said to them, well, the thing America's crying out for is for you to say, yeah, Trump is right. The shutdown that he caused is our fault. Unbelievable.
Well, and unfortunately, obviously, it wasn't all the Democrats that folded, but similar to marginalized groups, if 8 Democrats do something bad, the entire Democratic Party takes the blame. And so everybody is now, these 8 screwed it up for the rest of the party.
Yep.
And so going forward, we need to, hi, Kate.
No, you're doing. I was just going to ask you to talk a little bit more about Chuck Schumer, because Schumer notably did not vote for the CR, but he didn't seem to do anything to stop it. What do you make of that?
Poor leadership, obviously.
No, I think it's worse than that, guys. There are 2 scenarios that obtain here. Either Chuck Schumer knew what was going on with his own caucus and let it or wanted it to happen, which I believe is the actual case at hand, or he didn't know, and he's an absolute flaming incompetent for not knowing that his caucus is about to do something so politically destructive that is he that disconnected? Is he that checked out? It's not a good look either way.
Yeah, and I think with the fact that the 8 who did vote for it, I think they all had their reasonings, but that means that Chuck Schumer wasn't able to corral them to be able to say, hey, this is how it hurts the party. It just doesn't, I understand. I truly, truly do understand if they're in a state, right? Like in Nevada, for example, where the economy is already suffering due to a lot of Trump's policies around visas and around tariffs. All of that stuff is affecting Nevada. So I can understand why those 2 senators would vote for it. But the fact that Chuck Schumer couldn't get people to see the big picture, if he himself can even see the big picture, and I think
I don't think he at this point in his career has that ability to understand the world he actually fights in now. Remember, this is Chuck Schumer of the sternly worded letter.
Right.
And sternly worded letters convince 0 people. And sternly worded letters convince 0 voters that you're going to fight for them.
Yeah.
So not a moment in which the Democratic caucus is covered in glory. But, at least what they got out of it was vastly increased healthcare costs for most Americans. It's great. It's really something to be proud
And
of.
also things that were tucked into the bill last minute that
like the special payoffs for the Republican senators
who weren't at all involved in January 6th because that wasn't even a thing.
I'm sorry,
right.
what special payoffs for those of our audience and maybe producers?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Who are the bill, nicely done, Kate. Nicely done. The bill contains $500,000 payoffs, actually $1 million payoffs for 7 U.S. senators in the Republican Party whose names came up during the Jack Smith investigation. Mm-hmm. And Jack Smith subpoenaed a bunch of phone records, and they're very angry that somebody would dare to think that they were involved in January 6th, mainly because they were involved in January 6th. They were communicating with Trump, Bannon, and the rest of the scummy cavalcade of weirdo dipshit conspirators, and they're mad about it. So they put a special payoff for themselves because they didn't like to be inconvenienced with all those complications like following the fucking law.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
And it also affects maybe more to your generation hemp products and THC.
Oh yes, products. It bans THC and hemp products.
Bummer to freshman year of college me.
Yeah.
She was super bummed about that.
Bummer to pre-1985 me.
I was like, yes, bummer too.
I want to ask one more question about the shutdown fight. So like the sort of devil's advocate position, and Rick, you've always said, pain is the only teacher in politics.
Yep.
It's sort of evil to frame it as a win, but just for argument's sake, is it a win on any level that when these premiums go up?
Yes.
People will
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now, it is a win on a certain level that the Republicans are the singular cause of this. There's no world in which there's any other factor that no one is ever going to believe the Democrats are like, yeah, you know what I really want is to cut off health care for poor people. No one's ever buying that. They will not, by the way, just so the Democrats understand this point, they will not get any credit for a show vote on the floor of the Senate about health care. They will possibly get some credit on having this fight in the spring or summer of next year. Although it's still not. It still would have been better to do it the right way. Make sense?
Yeah. I would like to have, rock bottom. People need to hit rock bottom in many ways in order to experience crisis to be able to realize how dire things are. And so those of us who are constantly following these things, we know how dire it is. But some people haven't opened their mail yet to see what their premiums are going to be. And that's just reality. And so when I think the combination of medical debt showing up on records, not having access to healthcare, grocery prices still being high, we're going to see, I think, and I think mortgage rates are ticking up. We're going to see January, February, also right fresh off the holiday season when people are having to dole out cash on presents for the kids and family members. I think around January, February, including, don't forget all of the layoffs that have been happening.
Not that we know about them anymore because they don't report economic statistics.
Yes. Why? Well, because that was on a server that or something that got messed up during the shutdown.
Those stats are libtard commie agitprop.
I think the upside is that everybody was, in fact, blaming the Republicans. They're still in charge. They're still running all three branches of the government. And so when people start to truly suffer come January and February, people are going to say, wait a second. And that's when they're all going to look up. And then people will be full of rage. I think it's going to be a very rageful January.
I think this, look, home foreclosures are up 20% in the last month. Credit card bills are at record levels. That's not the economy Donald Trump keeps describing to people. He keeps saying everything is beautiful. It's awesome. We've never had a better economy. And, there's always been like a bullshit factor with Trump
Mm-hmm.
where people are like, yeah, it's just Trump being Trump. But there's also a point now where there's a certain cruelty to that bullshit factor, where people really know they're not in a great place. They're not economically healthy. They're not in a world where their kids are going to go to college. And I think that is a very dangerous place now for Trump, because there's a degree to which the old latitude he got in that space is now disappearing.
And he doesn't understand that, because he's talking about going out on an affordability tour and trying to bring this message to the people.
That's like Jeffrey Epstein going on a school safety tour. For God's sake. I mean,
yeah.
I think that maybe will bring us into the fun part of the episode. Let's start talking about the wins of the day, if you can call it that.
All right.
And that is the House Oversight Committee releasing new emails on Wednesday this week from the estate of disgraced pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, detailing what Trump knew about Epstein's abuses of young women and alluding to his presence and proximity to these crimes as they were being committed. Do you guys see these things?
Yeah. What did he know?
Pretty
and
quiet.
when did he know?
I really wasn't spending much time on that this week, but I'm kidding, folks. Look, these things are a knife that Jeffrey Epstein has stabbed Donald Trump in the dick with from beyond the grave.
Hell yeah. You want to get into the emails?
Let's do it. Let's show some of the emails we have in the limited number of the collection that we have. Right. There are so many more, folks, and it is horrifying and glorious at the same time.
All right. So this email from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine in April of 2011. I want you to realize that the dog, that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Ghislaine replies, I have been thinking about that, ... Your
Has
thoughts?
she?
Panel, your thoughts?
Look, all these emails are showing us one big thing. It's one big message in all this, and that is, any denial that Trump and Epstein were entangled for decades falls apart completely, even with this one tranche of emails. And folks, let's be clear about something. This is you're on the Titanic tonight, okay? And you're on the bridge of the Titanic, and far, far, far on the horizon, you see a little tiny glittering white point of light. Could be a star, could be a cloud, could be a bird. But as you get closer, you realize it's still pretty far away, but it's the tip of an iceberg. And if you get closer, you'll see it's a mountain of ice. And if you get closer still, the part that's underwater is 100 times larger, and it completely wrecks your ship. This is that tranche of emails, that little tiny piece. This is almost nothing in comparison. This is almost nothing in the big picture. The things that are still hidden away in the files at the DOJ and in these other prosecutions, including the one that they canceled in the beginning of the Trump administration, that's where the radioactive sick poison is. And there's a reason they put 1,000 FBI agents on this to go through the files, because they know how much he's in them. It's going to get much worse from here. And they're panicking about it. As you can see, Maya, the shit show this week with them calling people into the White House, into the skiff in the Situation Room, like, change your vote.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was a situation. So that is.
That it was.
Okay, you got me.
Let's do another email while Rick pops that back up. So this is from December of 2017 from what we presume is a victim.
Right.
To Jeffrey Epstein, I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. 2 crying, laughing emojis. This is my favorite because I saw someone on Twitter say that not only does this prove that Trump is a pedophile, it proves that he's their least favorite of all the pedophiles. That they
right. Of the pedophiles in the room, which one do you like the least, kid? Yeah, no, it really does have a very like Bad Touch Donald is coming over vibe.
Right.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, these emails go back so far, which means many people are aware of how
Many,
deep the rabbit hole goes. And
many.
now there's no denying it. And I think what people are screaming for right now is, can we please put this to bed, put it to rest, find
Right.
the accountability so that we can move on from it. And I think that's part of the, I said, I was like, they're not going to open up the government until they can figure out what to do with the Epstein files. And
But
that's
the problem is Grijalva is now signed in, and she's the 218th, and they have not had any success, which I think is interesting, in peeling off Nancy Mace or Lauren Boebert or MTG or anybody else.
which I still find that so suspicious. It makes me very nervous that.
Oh, believe me, I'm not ready to take long showers with these people or go to local community theater productions of Beetlejuice with them. But that was good. That was good. It was good.
It took me a minute to go back in the mental. I was like, oh yes, Boebert. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But as long as they're currently on the side of right, I'll take them causing him more trouble than us.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like he's worn out his welcome. He's done what people need him to do, and no one's willing to come to his defense anymore because he's become an embarrassment, not just for himself, but for everybody around him. Like, how many times can they sit in the Oval and nod and smile when he randomly says things that make no sense whatsoever? Like, it's demoralizing even for them. So
Right.
I could see that this is going to, but it also feels like, really, is this it? Finally, will we get this release next week? Are they going to vote?
JD Vance Gerald Ford is the question you're trying to ask.
Yes.
That's really where it comes down to. Is Vance Jerry Ford just waiting for Watergate to fucking suck him under? And I think there's an argument to be made increasingly that he is.
He's running around trying
I had
to
to write a
act
note of
very
that down
presidential.
just now because I'm going to write an article about that.
It's good.
Subscribe to Rick's Substack.
Subscribe to Against All Enemies on Substack.
I want to show one more email. This is, keep moving me over there. This is an email from 2019. This is like, Trump is the president at this time.
Yes.
So victim redacted, Mar-a-Lago, more context about that redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever, in reference to Mar-a-Lago. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Elaine to stop. So
Look,
what do we make of this?
I think
smoking gun is not a strong enough word.
I think that is a singularly damning statement. And it's singularly damning because Donald Trump didn't say to Jeffrey Epstein, stop recruiting underage girls and women and children for your sex slave ring. He said, stop doing it at Mar-a-Lago. It wasn't, for Trump, it wasn't about these girls, these victims. It was about that they were doing it at Mar-a-Lago, which I just find, like, I find that to be so heinous at a level that is like, he knew what he was doing.
No,
this was never a secret, what Trump was doing.
And the fact that he got into office campaigning on this idea that they are going to protect women and children, everything that they do, the demonizing of
immigrants, about
the
demonizing
of trans people, it's about protecting the children. And here are people who were children when they were victimized, asking for justice. And suddenly the people who were holding up, oh, we've got the Epstein files in these binders. Suddenly the administration that was all about transparency no longer wants to release the files and is fighting tooth and nail to keep from releasing the files, as you always do when there's nothing in the files.
Right, as one does. Once there's a knowledge that there's nothing in the files, there's no further excuse for hiding them.
Exactly.
And yet this is a total government effort by the entire government to hide these files. Every level of government right now is working to hide the Epstein files. from the attorney general to the FBI director to the deputy FBI director to the deputy attorney general Todd Blanche, everywhere they are covering for Trump to hide these files everywhere. And I find it obscene. And I think it is one of these things that we know from the polling, even in the MAGA world, there is a deep division. There is a deep chasm between Trump's denial and the fact that MAGA believed in this for a decade. They thought this was absolute gospel for a decade.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and now they're playing in people's faces, and the amount of resources. I'm not an economist, Rick, but can we even try to calculate the amount of resources that have been spent by this administration in this cover-up? This is like, it feels like it's got to be $1 billion cover-up at this point.
Well, look, I can't do that math either off the top of my head, but I will say this. Nothing in our history, in the modern era, or that I can think of, and I'm a decent historian, comes close to this. This is a full effort of the government. Watergate was a bunch of amateur dipshits. You know, they did not have the attorney general during Watergate running the FBI and the rest of the government to try to protect Nixon. Yes, there was some of that, but it wasn't at the scale that we're looking at now. The scale we're looking at now is an obscenity. It is, I mean, the DOJ does two things now: covers up for Epstein and prosecutes Trump's enemies. This is not a government
with our tax dollars.
It's a crime family that we're paying for.
The lack of investment in our actual growth of our economy is a little bit insane. Like, people should be angry. Like, I feel like people should be belligerent.
Well, look, when Trump's approval rating with Republicans is right now down to 61%, that says a lot, because he's held at 80, 90, 95% over time. Right now, he has finally lost Republicans. He's been lying to them about the economy and about tariffs for months. This idea that he is going to give them a stimulus check for the tariffs, from where? From what fucking money? It doesn't exist. There is no stimulus check to be had. All of this adds up to this betrayal of his own people.
No, absolutely. I'm sure some of them are still holding out for that $5,000 Doge check.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Doge checks. Shit. Damn, I forgot all about the Elon Musk Doge checks.
When it comes to his base, have you guys been keeping track of the sort of cope out of right-wing media? Namely, I wish I'd pulled this clip, come to think of it, but do you see Megyn Kelly try to defend this today?
Oh, my God.
Kelly, well, maybe Epstein wasn't a pedophile. He just liked somewhat underage girls.
Right.
He likes them barely legal 15 is what she said.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me just make it very clear. If you are sex trafficking a 15-year-old, you're still fucking sex trafficking. You're still a fucking pedophile.
It's still a child. It's still
a child. Yes.
Like
Megyn seems to me to be mentally brittle right now.
I will say nothing on that, but yes.
She seems to me like a woman on if I may use the title from a favorite 80s Pedro Almodovar movie, A Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. So I just threw it all right there. 80s trivia, Spanish trivia, Antonio Banderas' first big movie.
Oh, I didn't realize he was in that.
I'm too young to know all these references.
You are way too young.
You
are way too young, Kate.
I could poke you out of this screen. I will just push you.
So to the point of like this iceberg, I just want to say, as a procedural matter for people who don't follow this as crazy as we do, and also because it can be very confusing. And I had to ask in one of our work chats today, like, am I dumb? Can someone explain this to me? What we got today yesterday from the House Oversight Committee, those are emails that were subpoenaed from the Epstein estate. Those are not the Epstein files.
Correct.
The Epstein files are what the DOJ has from their investigation that has been sealed. That is what has to be voted on. Now that the government has been reopened, This week, Mike Johnson finally swore in Adelita Grijalva after benching her for 7 weeks to try and avoid this vote. She's the 218th vote needed to pass a discharge petition for the DOJ's trove of Epstein information, the files.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But that has to then make it through the Senate and then finally to Trump's desk, ding, 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 who can veto it. So ahead of...
he will.
They're doing everything that they can out of like the White House, out of Trump world, to get these votes to not happen so that he won't have to veto it.
That's right. This tells you their level of panic. And again, folks, they pulled Boebert and MTG into the White House to the Situation Room where no one can bring a telephone. That's why they did it. So nobody can record the conversation or in any way hold them to account. That's why they did it. That's why they were in that room. And that's why this entire idea that they're going to browbeat 2 members of Congress into taking their names off the discharge petition was so wild to me, because it wasn't going to work. Both of those people have their own outside agenda for the future. Maybe kooky, you may not like it, but they have one. And I think it was a really counterproductive thing to do. I think it was really dumb.
Yeah.
Y'all, I got to say this about Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody should think about this in their life. At some point in your life, you've probably known somebody who's done something bad. You might have known about it. You might not have. When you read these emails, you understand that Donald Trump was around Jeffrey Epstein the entire time he was doing these bad things from the start. There's no world in which Trump wasn't aware of what was going on. There's no world in which these contemporaneous emails between Maxwell and Epstein from the mid-2000s till 2019, and the Epstein emails between other people like Michael Wolff and Steve Bannon and other reporters that talk about how he can help the Russians manipulate Trump. Now, do you think that Jeffrey Epstein had any particular knowledge of Trump that would have been compromising to the Russians that they would love to know about? Because I think they did. How he can manipulate, how Epstein can manipulate Trump into owing him a debt. Could it be knowledge about things that Trump did with these girls? Occam's razor cuts very straight and true. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's anything that the DOJ is hiding that could be worse for Donald Trump than the continued conspiracy and the cover-up to hide it.
And what we already know. So that
right.
There's someone else who knows a whole lot who's still alive. And that is Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, yes.
I would like
for now. I was like, for now.
For now.
Look, I mean, I got to imagine those conversations with her and Todd Blanche, like, we want to try to help you, because prison can be so dangerous.
Right.
People can, end up getting hurt in so many ways. I mean, Ghislaine, you could accidentally hang yourself. It's horrible.
Well,
I don't put anything past these MFers.
Well, and I'm glad before we get into Ghislaine, I'm glad that you brought up Russia, because I feel like we often forget when people are trying to say, but why would they want to break the economy? Why would they want to? And it's all a part of a destabilization. Right. This is what Russia wanted.
The worse does, the better Russia does. QED everything. And I think one of the tragedies here of his reelection was that Trump knew the only way to stay out of prison was to win again. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Harris and the Democrats, and maybe even us, ever internalized that enough, because, man, he wanted to win in a way like you have never seen before, like nothing you've ever seen before. Yeah. And I guess if I was going to go to prison, I'd feel the same way.
Well, and then combine that with the determination of the evangelicals to push forward Project 2025, and you have people who are on a God-given mission, him to stay out of prison and them to
Right.
make us all live in a Christian
Please don't
fascist
put me in
landscape.
jail, and also where my handmaid's at.
Okay, actually one more thing. I do want to like take 2 minutes to do tinfoil hat. I don't think it's out of bounds to take a second or third or 19th look at the circumstances surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's death, given what we know, and Trump having been president at the time.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
I mean,
I mean, at this point, I'm sorry. At this point, I just have, and I am not a tinfoil hat guy. I'm the last guy with the tinfoil hat on. But at this point, there are so many inconsistencies in this whole, like the release of the various videos from the prison, Epstein sending himself an email, which is in this tranche, about Trump knew. I mean, I just find the whole thing to be so wildly improbable that this guy who had slithered out of a lot of other trouble in his life just said, no, I'm so racked with guilt now about being a pedophile.
Yeah, absolutely not. Psychos don't do that. Like psychopaths don't.
Sociopaths and psychopaths, they tend to sort of like find ways to mangle the truth enough to protect and preserve themselves, and that is clearly something that a Jeffrey Epstein would do, and it's not the kind of like thing that normal people like us would do, but it's the kind of thing that a psychotic child molester would do, and everybody who thinks that Epstein somehow like had no way to get out of this whole problem. He'd gotten out of a lot of problems. He had escaped a lot of accountability. Why wouldn't you think he could get away with more? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else in his orbit is getting away with more, and he had plenty of material in order to get away with more. The trove of blackmail material that he had would have been enough to secure his freedom, if you will. And unfortunately, it didn't play out that way.
You know,
I'll have to move us along.
All right, Kate. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I brought up the tinfoil hat, but we just, so many people are saying it, and we just had to.
We have to say it. Look, I did not believe at first that Epstein killed himself or committed suicide. I even wrote a funny piece back in 2016 or no 2018, whatever it was. It was a short fiction piece, like that Hillary and Jared Kushner meet in the cell when they're both trying to come to kill him. It was funny. But look, nothing here smells right. The whole thing stinks on ice.
Yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I did watch Scandal a lot. And
right?
Well, Shonda couldn't have written a better script.
No,
it's funny that the way that conspiracy theories work is they sort of like give you the puzzle pieces so that you can put it together. Like you have to feel like you put it together yourself. And part of the reason that the sort of like QAnon part of the MAGA base is like maybe not buying this is because it's so in your face. They went through Hillary's emails and they said, well, if you replace pizza with little boy and and hot dog with sex parties,
and look, this email has 17 lines of text. That means
and then this one is like, please send me the young girls to have sex with. And
it's like, I'm looking forward to our next party with the underage girls.
Right.
Oh cool.
But but people at that level of power think that they can get away with saying that kind of thing in an email because they do on a regular basis. So he wasn't trying to hide anything because he didn't think he needed to.
So Ghislaine, time to talk about the only living person who knows the truth, I would think.
Donald knows the truth.
Well, he's not going to tell us.
No.
I mean, so she's in a minimum high fluff.
She's in a minimum security prison. It is club fed.
Let me give some context. So the important context revealed in this email dump from the Oversight Committee was that Ghislaine absolutely lied during her deposition with Deputy AG Todd Blanche, which Rick, I know you want to lay into him, at the Florida prison where she was being held earlier this year. After that meeting, to recap, As we've covered here, she was moved to the Club Fed minimum security prison in Bryan, Texas, where she is now staying. And a new whistleblower disclosure has revealed the insane preferential treatment she has been getting inside the facility. It said that Maxwell has been waited on hand and foot, gotten computer access, special meals, special phone privileges, private gym access, and even time with an emotional support puppy that no other inmates or staff were allowed to play with.
You give me a fucking puppy, I'm not in prison. I'm in heaven.
One of the officers at the facility was quoted as saying he's, quote, sick of having to be Maxwell's bitch. All this while she prepares a request for Donald Trump to commute her sentence. So
there you go, folks.
What happened in that meeting with Todd Blanche? And will Trump pardon her? And how does that play out if he does? How does he get away with vetoing this and pardoning Ghislaine and her having this princess treatment at the prison? Like, how does this play out to the public? Is the base going to leave him over this finally?
I think this is why they're scrambling, because at this point they've played every single card. And so there's nothing that the Trump administration can do. Like you said, Rick, earlier, this can't be spun in any sort of way. And
this is unspinnably bad. Look, I think it will not be the whole base. There will never be a moment where he loses 100% of his support. But this is certainly a moment where he's going to bleed off another 20 or 30% of his support, where he's going to lose a few more people. And, you can only lose a few more people so many times until your political movement falls apart. So, the vertical of this MAGA movement, the vertical power structure of this movement has been so strong for so long. And everybody's like, oh, well, it can never be broken. Well, he has been breaking it all year. It has been falling apart slowly but surely all year. And we're right now at a level where people understand that he is hiding something. It's why his numbers are down dramatically. I mean, they are down dramatically. Even with his base, folks, his numbers are way down. And because they're so far down, it's harder for him to get the latitude he used to have to be able to say to all Republicans, fuck you, obey me. They're not doing it anymore.
And seeing people like Megyn Kelly move the goalposts is, to me, a signal that they're trying to move the goalposts with their base. They're trying to say, okay, the stuff is going to come out. Yeah, it's
bad, but it's, he's kind of sort of a pedophile light. It's not like the full thing. I mean, it's not like he's a total pedophile all the time. I mean, sometimes he just likes underage tween girls. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And the fact that it's being now pushed, the fallout from all of this will come January, February, March into the midterms. Like the midterms will be coming. And this is why
if folks think that we're not going to make an issue of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, I have swampland in Florida to sell you, because we're going to make an issue of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. This is vile. This is repulsive. This is one of the sickest things in American political history. And there's no world in which a responsible political enterprise like ours that wants to fight Trump and Trumpism lets it go. I'm not letting it go. This is sick. It's fucked up. People deserve answers, and they also deserve to have Donald Trump be held accountable, not only for covering up whatever the fuck he's covering up, but for being Jeffrey Epstein's running buddy and bestie for years.
Yeah.
Let's be real, folks. This is a sick man.
Yeah,
Epstein
I feel like
a sick man. And if you're a friend of his, you're fucked up.
I feel like this is a crossroads for the country as well, morally, because if we lose enough people to the we're okay with pedophiles running the government, if we lose people to that, it just is fully defined.
This is like, as long as it's not a pedophile, it's okay. That's not the world we should want to live in as Americans.
No,
it's weird and it's dangerous.
Well, I don't think we can. I think we don't come back from that. Like January 6th was a rock bottom that I feel like we couldn't come back from that in terms of political
violence. We still haven't.
No, definitely not. And so this is a different kind of rock bottom in a different direction from a moral standpoint, because you have moral leadership can we claim to care about women, the marginalized, vulnerable at all throughout the world if this is
You
what
can't.
we've
No,
elevated to the highest
you
office in the land?
simply cannot at that
No.
point.
And a conspiracy theory hat real quick on this Ghislaine
Yes.
thing. The fact that they put her in a medium security prison, or maybe it's minimum, she's actually a lot, it's cushier, but she's a lot easier to get to than if she were in a maximum.
Actually,
So,
that is correct. And Ghislaine, call me. I want to say one more thing on the conspiracy theory front.
Go for it.
Conspiracy theories generally, not universally, but generally, are these kind of lurid things that people want to believe, and they want to feel something that makes them feel coherent and cohesive. But sometimes the conspiracy is real, and this conspiracy exists. But the conspiracy you're watching right now is for this government to cover up the vile, horrifying abuse of girls and children by associates of Jeffrey Epstein, including the current president. And we don't know what kind of abuse he did, or that Jeffrey Epstein did to all these girls, but we know that all of them were part of this trafficking network. And we know that Donald Trump was his friend. And we know now from their contemporaneous reporting that he knew. He knew. Folks, he knew what was going on. Whether he was there screwing children is irrelevant at this point. He knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He had a moral responsibility to take care of it.
yeah. And so he needs to be held accountable. And so that's what the American people need to demand all throughout next year until he's gone. Like, demand until he's gone, until the other people who were involved also are held accountable.
So to put a bow on this, let's try and quickly answer the question that I've been getting a lot, which is how long, now that the government's back open and now that the House is going to vote, I believe on Tuesday, about the disclosure, how long does it take before it gets to Trump's desk? If you had to put like a date on it.
Look, it'll go instantaneously from the House. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I have to check what the parliamentary rules are for discharge petitions. If it was a bill, the speaker could wait up to, I think, 72 hours. But a discharge petition may be a different kettle of fish. I don't know that answer, come to think of it. I think he will delay it as long as possible. The Senate, I think Thune will delay it as long as possible. There's no world in which this is good for Trump for this to get to the president's desk. That's why they're trying so hard to kill it right now. So, like, by Christmas? Oh, after? Yeah, I don't think they can manage to hold it off until Christmas. I think it goes before that.
Well, and I think in their best interest, they want to get it out of the way as soon as possible. If he's going to veto it when it gets to his desk, because then they can buy themselves time and runway to be able to do whatever damage control and repair before the midterms, or come up with some sort of crisis that they can use to shield it.
We're just about to invade Venezuela, so that's going to get spicy. I can't sign this during this state of war with a deadly terrorist threat of Venezuela. All right. It is time for lightning round.
I was like, where's my
we got to get some sound effects for that.
I know.
Soundboard.
I'm a bad producer.
Where's my lightning?
I'll just leave the studio now, you guys.
There it is.
I actually want to start off the lightning round with something really fun and call back to earlier in this episode, which I don't know if you saw me lose my mind backstage. Rick, do you remember we were talking about pictures of you in a Lincoln hat?
Yes.
Well, I would first like to show when that was said, within, I kid you not, 30 seconds, and this is when I know that my parents are watching. Hi, Mom and Dad. I got this from my dad. He texted me immediately. That is Rick and my dad.
Yep.
On a night in Park City.
At the Spur in Park City, Utah.
And infamous night.
Infamous night.
A
lot of shenaniganery. There you go.
Those are the pictures that I had on my phone.
Yes.
But anyway.
I can make my hair do that.
Me too.
That was so funny. Immediately when I was like, oh, I'll find those pictures, like immediately in the corner of my screen, my dad was like,
Boom.
anyway. So lightning round. Let's start with Italy's biggest pasta exporters plan to stop exporting their products to the US as soon as January due to Trump's tariffs. I believe it's 107% on Italian pasta.
I
ahead,
heard he was going to kick out people who are overweight anyway, so maybe it's good that we're cutting down on carbs. I heard that.
Yeah, I did hear that whole thing. Like, there's a new like customs can ban fat people.
Yeah, that is
apparently. How the fuck is Donald Trump going to travel?
He should talk to his own communications director. That guy.
Oh,
he must have a really good mirror. Did they replace all the mirrors?
He has the Target skinny mirror.
I like the IKEA skinny mirror myself.
That Stephen Chung is a truly strange cat. I mean, that is an angry dude, and I know why.
Why?
He's angry. Look at him. I mean, like children scream when they see him walk down the street. Dear God. Animals howl.
So are people stocking up on pasta? I mean, what are they doing right now? Is everybody mass buying pasta because it's, a non-perishable? You can,
especially now that we've cut food aid for poor people, getting rid of pasta, that's a luxury good, obviously, that no one needs.
Now, this is my favorite lightning round item. I'm just going to move right into Trump getting booed at the Commanders game. Let's watch.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
That,
yeah.
That's a poll. I have to say that's a poll.
That's a 67,000 person focus group.
Well, of people in the DC area, I should hope so.
Right.
My second favorite lightning round item is Trump falling asleep during one of his own press conferences, just absolutely slumped over in his chair.
I like the last one, the one on the right of this screen. But, folks, this is Donald Trump's commitment to ending woke in America.
Woke found
it's
good. Let's see. We're now supposed to get a $2,000 tariff stimulus check. New stimmy is incoming. I saw a really good tweet about this that was like, it's an infinite money glitch. Like it's free money to like go on these betting apps and bet $2,000 on whether or not Trump is going to send the check. Because if he doesn't, if you bet that he's not going to do it, or if you bet that he's going to do it,
they get your $2,000 if he does it.
Right.
Oh, that's clever.
You bet. I think it's if you bet, because the odds are like 80-20 now or something. I saw it basically that like if you bet correctly, like you either just get your $2,000 back or you win $16,000.
So here's the Trump administration.
That's not bad arbitrage, honestly.
They're not capable of administering anything, let alone rolling out checks right now. They are barely I'm shocked that they're able to get dressed and make it to their offices at this point, because every time I see a press conference or an oval, it just looks like they're scrambling. So I don't think a $2,000 check is in anyone's future. And even if it were, the fact that everything is so much more expensive, that $2,000 check is really actually worth shit. So
the inflation in the last year or the last 11 months now is everything he promised that he would take care of. Lower prices, lower inflation, not so much.
I also just want to let the people know that if ever he does give out a $2,000 stimmy check from the tariff proceeds, that would cost about $600 billion. And the tariffs have raised less than half of that, I believe.
I just thought about it. I think it's all going to be paid out in the leftover pennies. And you're just going to get $2,000 of pennies at your doorstep.
We give you all the sexiest new Bitcoin, the Melania coin. On one side, a stripper pole.
Trump also proposed implementing a 50-year mortgage.
Why not 70? Why
which
not
is just
80?
renting
Why
from
not
the
an
bank
infinite
until
mortgage
you
where you
die.
just pay rent for the rest of your eternity?
Infinite mortgage.
Infinite mortgage. No.
What's crazy, it doesn't even, I saw a couple of numbers run on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even lower the payments significantly enough to even
No,
make a difference.
I believe it lowers your payment something like $200 or $300 a month for the average mortgage, but you end up paying something like $800,000 more.
Right. For a $500,000 mortgage, it lowers your payment like $375 a month.
Yeah.
But you pay basically 3 times as much fucking interest because it compounds. I mean, the whole thing is, it's like, hey, we're walking through the woods and there's a rusty bear trap on the ground. You're like, hey, should I put my foot in that? And everybody goes, no, that's a bad investment in your time. But Donald Trump's asking you to throw your foot into the rusty bear trap, to be trapped in a fucking 50-year mortgage you'll never pay off. The average age of somebody getting a mortgage in this country is 40 years old. You're not going to pay a mortgage till you're fucking 90. It's insanity.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, what job are people working where they're paying that mortgage when they're 80? Like at Target,
whatever job Gen Zs are, the Zoomers are all going to have until we die and never own our homes.
No jobs because of AI. No one's going to have jobs.
Right.
That too.
Our jobs are going to be begging the AI overlords to not kill us.
May I have a food pod, sir?
The late 90s. What a great time to be born. I'm so happy.
You were happier earlier in the show. You were all like, oh, that was before my time.
Now she's feeling existential dread.
Yeah, but now I'm realizing I'm never going to be a homeowner.
No, you just need to take out that 90-year mortgage. You should be fine.
Yeah.
You never know. A whole bunch of the elder boomers are dying off at a pretty rapid clip right now. The market's going to crash.
I think their next housing plan is they're just going to match roommates. They're going to put roommates with each other.
The next thing is going to be like, we're going to have a dormitory style housing for adults.
Yeah, exactly. Co-living.
Co-living is already a thing in some more like progressive circles, like people having families and choosing to like co-live.
You mean
now, are those the same thing as polycules?
No, not like a polycule. It's more like a commune.
Okay.
But I do only think polyamory is only popular because of the housing crisis. I don't think people are progressive. They're just practical.
Right, like I just need more roommates.
Yeah, we need to cut down on the cost, divide the cost.
Yeah. I have one more item for our lightning round, which is that Elon Musk's X has introduced certified bangers, ranking the top posts based on their authentic engagement each month, including verified impressions, likes, bookmarks, reposts, and replies. Accounts with a certified banger post will have a badge appear on their profile.
Could you name it anything else? Could you name it anything else?
Legalized comedy.
Any other fucking thing.
This goes back to the we're all 12-year-olds now. Like this is like
yes. Elon Musk is a certified banger. Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
I just realized because at 12 is the age where all the really bad bullying got, like that's junior high. And so they're all stuck in when they first started getting bullied. All of them. Peter Thiel, Yarvin. That's what's going on.
You know what? That's a really good point, Maya. They got stuck at 12 or 13 years old when they were awkward little motherfuckers and they got their asses beat and they never played team sports. And there it is.
Rick, I'm assuming this is a great extrapolation of that, but I'm assuming you have heard the everyone is 12 now discourse.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah. Can you explain it to our audience for people who are maybe not that people don't have 9 hours of screen time a day?
No, it's basically that our emotional baseline in this country has now reached the point where you could describe the actions of most adults by the actions of what the average 12-year-old would engage in. Is that pretty accurate? I think that's pretty good.
That was a perfect description of that. That was spot on. And that is exactly what is happening. And in order to stay sane, you should operate in the world as such. Otherwise, you'll go crazy.
I want to give credit to the original creator. The Twitter user is Patrick Cosmos. The original tweet was a couple months ago. It was working on a unified theory of American reality. I'm calling everyone is 12 now. And then there are a lot of different replies being like, this shifted something, you can't unsee it. I don't want to get my shots. Why would you? You're 12. I want a robot that can draw Star Wars pictures and do my homework. Well, yeah, a 12-year-old would want that, wouldn't they? And really, it applies so well across the board. So think about that next time someone tells you something stupid.
Well, that idea is so it's got the truthiness to it right now, because there is a lack of political and social maturity in this country right now that I find inexplicable otherwise. I mean, we're facing multiple crises on multiple axes right now. And if this was a World War II, we've had the equivalent of an economic Pearl Harbor this year. We've had all this chaos in the world that has surrounded us. And yet 8 dipshits gave up on trying to put pressure on the people doing all the harm. Because they wanted to be the Tracy fucking Flicks of the class and be at the front of the room.
I'm gonna name those 8 Senate Democrats. I'm gonna direct everyone to look them up because I don't have it in front of me, and you're not gonna write it down right now anyway. To look up their phone numbers and call their offices.
There's a free post on my Substack called "A Call to Arms on the Shutdown."
It has all of their names and
all their phone numbers.
I will tell you their names now. It is Senators Dick Durbin, Catherine Cortez Masto, John Fetterman, Tim Kaine, Angus King, Jackie Rosen, Maggie Hassan, and Jean Shaheen.
By the way, there was if you guys don't follow New York Times PitchBot or Doug J. Balloon on the socials, folks, do. He writes these absolutely pitch perfect New York Times fake headlines, and today's was, "Now is the time for the Senate to vote to hide the Epstein files further." Signed, Tim Kaine and John Fetterman.
Did we get everything? I think we got everything.
I think we did a whole show. Did we do a whole show?
We got a whole show.
We did a whole show for an hour and 7 minutes, people. Be grateful.
Yeah. We're grateful for you.
We're grateful for y'all. We love y'all. Like, subscribe. Go on YouTube. Donate. Hit that like button. Subscribe button. Hit the bell. Do the things. Feed the algorithmic gods. Or they demand your sacrifice.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. I'm cutting this off. Good night.
Bye.